Good morning.
Good morning.
It is Friday. We've made it to the end of the week.
Yes.
It is April 17th.
Sir.
I like how we always give you a weather update as if everybody lives where we live. But it's
cold again.
Plays a role in our day. My name is Adam. I'm the youth pastor at Crossroads Church. This is my beautiful wife Sydney, and we have an amazing little boy named Jack.
Who might I add, slept from 2 to 8:30 last night.
He's getting there.
Someone's out there praying real hard because it's working.
We have been reading for you every morning from Jesus Calling by Sarah Young. It is a morning devotional for every day of the year. I highly recommend it. You know, it's important to start off our day right.
That's right.
I just heard on the news that the president is unveiling a 3-phase plan to reopen the economy. So, you know, this I've always felt was a test of endurance. But I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and so I just encourage everybody to stay strong in your faith. Continue praying for wisdom for the authority placed over us, because I do not envy the decisions that some of these governors and people have to make in regard to reopening certain parts of our economy. But you know, it's important we get back out there. So I just want to start off by asking for everybody to pray for wisdom and guidance for our leaders. It's a tough decision.
I wouldn't want to do it. And you know, I tell our kids, one day, every day that passes is another day closer to getting to the finish line, getting to where we can all get back to church, get back to normal, get back to work, get back to everyday life. And every day is just a little bit closer, and just hang tough.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm on the
April
right page
17th.
today.
Look at you.
I only took 2 tries.
It reads, I am training you in steadiness. Too many things interrupt your awareness of me. I know that you live in a world of sight and sound, but you must not be a slave to those stimuli. Awareness of me can continue in all circumstances, no matter what happens. This is the steadiness I desire for you. Don't let unexpected events throw you off course. Rather, respond calmly and confidently, remembering that I am with you. As soon as something grabs your attention, talk with me about it. Thus I share your joys and your problems. I help you cope with whatever is before you. This is how I live in you and work through you. This is the way of peace. There are a couple verses for context. He will have no fear of bad news. His heart is steadfast, trusting in the Lord. Psalm chapter 112, verse 7. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10.
I like this. This is good stuff. We were actually kind of talking about this the other day. Adam and I were in the car about, you know, because before we came to Oklahoma, life was very different. Like, the music we listened to is different. And I had gotten in the car and I had my worship music on, and I was like, you know what's funny is that I only listen to worship music in the car now. Or, like, you know, I'll listen to NPR sometimes or whatever. But, like, I don't listen to the same kind of music anymore. And I mean, I do every now and then, but so we got into talking about the comparisons about how the world is just so full of this stimuli, like it says in here, of sights and sounds and just all this stuff that can distract you from God and from, you know, your faith, and to just stay steadfast and can keep in constant communication with Him.
And one thing I like, I am training you in steadiness. I like the word steadiness, because one thing that you will find as you seek God and become closer and closer with Him is that you don't experience the roller coaster of emotions that I so distinctly remember before when I was walking with God. You know, because what someone says to you, or the environment at your job, or the weather does not dictate your mood.
Man.
Like, something like that doesn't have the ability any longer to completely devastate your day.
Mm-hmm.
Your
or
happiness
make
is
it
not,
so much better all that quick. Like,
you know,
it's not
and
dependent on circumstances.
and that is peaceful.
Yes.
And also, you know, I feel we've touched on this before. You know, human condition. It seems like a huge focus of technology has been to fill every last second of our day with entertainment.
Something has to be.
We have sought to be entertained at every interval in our life and everywhere in our life. You know, TV wasn't good enough in the home. We need it in our pocket, on our phones. We need it on our computers. We need...
To the point where, like, it almost feels weird being in silence. It's, like, awkward having the TV off and not having sound and sight. We just recently started, like, when we're playing with Jack on the floor, we'll turn everything off. We'll turn the TV off. We'll turn the radios off. We'll turn any outside things. And we find that he's a lot calmer.
And you know what's weird is I think back, like what it must have been like 75 years ago when people didn't have all of these things and silence may have been more the norm.
Like when you only watch dinner time, like your one program after dinner time.
I get torn between these two things of technology. On the one hand, yes, it has done amazing things for us as human beings, like in the medical field, and it does make life very convenient. But I can't help but think of all of the downsides to it, and the lack of silence, and the constant...
Yes.
What is the word I'm looking for? Distractions. Yeah. I know you just had to sit through 5 of the most painful seconds of silence. But the constant distractions, you know, Satan actually loves for us to be distracted, because when we are distracted with all of these things vying for our attention, the less likely we are to turn our attention to God and His Word.
Yes.
So we have to be very careful about how much we allow these technologies and these outside stimuli to influence our lives. Because if we're not careful, you will find yourself filling every second with some sort of stimuli, whether it's music or video games or TV or movies or just something to fill the silence, when God created that silence for us to just sit in and become close with Him. And that is very hard to do when you have all of these other things entering your senses.
And you know, God rejoices when we sit in silence with Him. God rejoices when we take out everything else and just spend a moment of peace with Him. And that can be sitting in your car in the driveway. That can be, you can find moments of silence really anywhere, and just about where you are, if you can tune out everything else. But it's just important. It's important.
I understand the reality of our culture, and to tell a young person to just sit in silence,
turn off your phone,
might be a little unrealistic. But I love how this morning devotional says, okay, rather than just go sit somewhere quietly for 30 minutes, if you can start to become aware of the stimuli that are vying for your attention, pray to Him every time you feel your attention being pulled in one direction, regardless of what it is. Mm-hmm. If you can get into that habit, you will get into the habit of inviting the Holy Spirit to be with you in all that you do, and His Spirit can help guide our decisions and our focus, and it can help guard and protect us against some of these attacks that Satan would love to perpetrate on us.
Yes, I agree. I couldn't agree more. And there it just happened again. I just had this great thought in my head.
So, rather than just telling you guys, go sit somewhere for 30 minutes, where if you can do it, it's amazing. Sit quietly with God. But let's start with
I remembered it.
Every single thing that comes in trying to get your attention, just talk with God about it. Yes. And invite Him to be with you during every situation throughout your day.
Yes.
And see how that does.
I love that everything reverts back to praying, too. That, He's not asking you to be like, this is wrong, stop it right now, be perfect. Like, he's a compromising God. He's an understanding God. He understands that it's not just this black and white, turn your phone off, turn your TV off, but pray about it. Come to him with this, even though it might not seem like a big problem. Come to him when you're feeling distracted. Come to him when you're feeling a little overwhelmed, a little overstimulated. I am the first person to go down a rabbit hole on Facebook for hours watching dog videos. I watched a video last night at like 12:30 in the morning of a person that drew eyebrows on their sleeping baby. It was hilarious. But like that leads to like people making slime, and I watched a video of people wrangling each other in the backyard. Like just this like
This is what I live with.
stimulating, and then I get in bed at like 1 a.m. and my head hits the pillow and the baby wakes up and I'm like, I really wish I would have spent the last 2 hours either sleeping or praying or doing something productive that could glorify God. Because looking at Facebook doesn't glorify God, but like on the positive, putting out, daily devotionals like this, using the technology that has been given to us, can glorify God.
But
so there's a way to balance and a way to...
Satan loves to distract, though. I can tell you that the intent to pray, some people feel like that is enough. Like wanting to pray suffices
Intent
for actual
impact.
prayer, and Satan will love for you to hold on to that intent
That's good
while
enough.
distracting you throughout the whole day until your day's over. And you were holding on to this intent to be close with God and to pray with God.
Yes.
And you might justify that it's okay because you've always had the desire to, even though you didn't get around to it. I'm just saying we have to be very careful about all of these distractions that we allow into our lives, because there's no shortage of them.
There's plenty.
And
intent versus impact is one of my favorite things, and I think it's applicable to literally anything. But yeah, if you intent versus impact, you can intend to pray all you want, but until you actually pray and actually come in contact with God and reach out and lay your problems at his feet, that's when you're going to see change. That's when you're going to see a movement in your heart and in your life, and you're going to see results. So I encourage you to just pray. Stop and pray. If you're feeling distracted, if you're feeling like overstimulated, stop and pray.
And I know this is the last thing I want to touch on, but it reads, don't let unexpected events throw you off course. Rather, respond calmly and confidently, remembering that I am with you. Sometimes we can let our emotions drive our actions and our words, and it's important to always revert back to God's word to see how we should react in a situation or act, and then you can act confidently because you know that you are acting under God's authority, and that is the only authority that matters.
Agreed. And sometimes you get thrown off track. It happens to all of us. Sometimes you end up taking 2 or 3 steps back, and now you got to regain that ground that you lost. And God's with you in those times too. He's with you in the times where you have to make up some lost ground. He's with you in those times where you're feeling disappointed in yourself, or maybe I've gotten a little too lost off my path. It's okay. Happens to all of us. We all have to kind of hit the restart button sometimes and refocus. But that's okay. He's with you then too.
I always picture myself walking on a path with God leading me, and my goal in life on this path is to be as close to him as possible. And I think of every decision that I make as a step toward him. And when I make a mistake or make a wrong decision, I envision myself wandering off the path slightly that God is leading me down, and I have to then change my course to get back up and change my way, because if you don't, you will continue wandering further and further off the path.
The nice thing is I feel in that circumstance, God will always wait for you.
Absolutely.
But you will have to.
But I think like every day or
good.
week or month that he's waiting for me is lost ground.
Lost time that you could be spending with him in a closeness that
I've lost that.
That's a good way to think about. I like that. And that.
Yeah.
Picture. You're so smart.
That's just what that was a little window into Pastor Adam's head.
So
a little
smart. Even your daddy's so smart. I know.
Well, guys, I hope you're having the best Friday, the most blessed. It is the end of the atypical work week here, our work week from home, but we still relish and love our weekend. So
Yes.
we will see you tomorrow, God willing. Have a beautiful day. Reach out, love someone, stay strong in your prayer, and let's remember to pray for the people above us as they have to make these difficult decisions to reopen our economy.
Yes.
We love you guys.
And Jack's wearing a pizza onesie today.